What the hell is up, bros? Today we are talking about the best, worst trick in the game, in my opinion. I mean, there is another potential contender as of recent, but I still think overall, the best, worst trick in the game has to be Weenie out of bounds. Now, there are worse tricks than Weenie out of bounds, but the thing is, right? Those tricks, like, if they're worse, then they're probably so bad that they're not RTA viable, right? I mean, you got, like, SCDA fast corkscrew, like, that is just absurd. Like, no one's getting that in a run. And then you have stuff that's, like, literally physically impossible on the standard console. You know, stuff like Knucklehead out of bounds and things like that. But the problem with Weenie out of bounds is that it's, like, almost this, like, toxic, like, middle ground where it's like, it's still like not particularly RTA viable, but like it's not like it's fucking impossible or even close to impossible. Like, it is still absolutely doable. It's just really, 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 really bad. So it just kind of, and other elements of it too. But first, we gotta give you a little bit of history if I want this video to be longer than 20 minutes. So, I swear there was another video exploring this as well, but I couldn't find it, but you got Cole's video from June 19th, 2013, so a very long time ago. This will be a bit of a different version of Weenie Out of Bounds, but you'll be able to see, like, the idea. So, Cole goes up here. This wall is such a pain in the ass, by the way. I've experimented with this before to try and cut, like, other parts of the tree. You just can't really do anything with it. But yeah, this is just, like, a demonstration of sorts, but as you can see, with this, he was able to get out of bounds. And then he drives backwards to the finish line in the hopes that you'd be able to complete the challenge early, but unfortunately, you can't. So this is probably around the time when it was discovered, well, at least for Weenie, but probably for the other levels as well. It generally just like an assumption. You have to pass through in driving levels all of the triggers, all the checkpoint triggers throughout the level, in order for the finish line trigger to spawn. Why this game has a better made checkpoint system than like half the Mario Kart games, I don't fucking know. Otherwise, we'd be able to do insane shit in sandwich driving. I wouldn't be surprised if there'd be something for Sunday. And then we could do some crazy shit for Weenies, but Knucklehead still wouldn't really have anything. Well, actually, that's not true. It would just be like the Knucklehead out of bounds strat, the really bad one. That would just save even more time, and, oh yeah, actually, a decent amount of its difficulty would be cut as well, even though I'm still pretty sure it wouldn't be possible on OG, but yeah. So this idea was thrown out the window very quickly, because it's like, oh, well, the finish line trigger isn't here, bro. Oh, there is an exception, actually, for Weenie. You don't need all the checkpoint triggers. Well, you do, but you don't. You just need the keys, but to get the keys, you need to hit checkpoint triggers, so that's the thing. So now, this is slightly outdated. I actually beat this Weenie Gold well, this didn't gold, but I'm just showing you what Weenie, kind of generally looks like in our well, this is 2023, but even now in 2025, still pretty much looks like this. So you grab the nitro, drive through the oil. Weenie is a pretty unspectacular level as well, that's another thing. Like this, like all the other sliding and driving levels have something, Knucklehead technically has Mindy Skip, but even, in ILs it has a couple crazy strats. And then obviously, Sandwich Driving has Sandwich Out of Bounds and Dirt Pile Extra. Multiple forms of Sandwich Out of Bounds, in fact, and it has Park Out of Bounds for the ILs. And Sunday has Sunday Jump and Spiral Skip. Whereas, so Weenie is technically, if you want to count Knucklehead, Weenie is the only one with, like, nothing really going on. Which is funny, because it's, like, outside of, like, strats, I do think that Weenie is the most interesting. But that's like saying, oh, of these four burnt pieces of toast, this one is the least burnt, so it's good. Like, no. Like, you want the strats, right? Like, But yeah, then you nitro the, you know, to maximize nitro usage. I don't really nitro here anymore, this one. It's not worth it. It saves, like, literally, like, a frame, and it can make the turn hard. You might bung into this. You can get it bounce off the ground sometimes and get fucked. I drive through the oil now. I don't know if because you get a better line here, so it's probably worth it. Nitro, like, around when you touch that nitro, because then you get a good nitro here. But you can see, like, the objective, like, again, we're getting 5 keys in the span of 2 laps, and we need to. There is a trigger that you pass through, like, here. I think you need to pass through it twice. Either that or there's 2 triggers. There's also a thing here known as 4th lap glitch, but it's not a glitch, we just thought it was back in the day. It's possible to go over the trigger here, if from Nitro, but that's only on, like, the, you know, like, the slow patty consoles. On NTSC OG, it'll never happen. But yeah, you need to, like, do 2 laps and this checkpoint triggers for it. But yeah, we're on lap 2, going through the oil again. This is gonna look the same until conquer 2 key, saves like 2.5 seconds over just going the right side the entire way through the tunnel. It was found in like 2019, I think. You want to skip that nitro and then do a nitro. It doesn't matter like what order you do the specific stuff. And by the way, you can do conquer 2 key on lap 1. And here I'm gonna take the bottom path on lap 2, but it doesn't really matter. It's just preference of like what feels right. Sometimes I drive through the TNT here on lap 203 because it's just kind of in your face, like it doesn't, you know, just a nice way to get some manlies. Recently, I've been nitroing through here. I'm not sure if it's faster, but I feel like it is. And then you want to nitro here. And then you grab the key, reload, and other than upgrading Slam, you're done. Because that, you know, it prevents a lag spike, so it's just a tiny optimization. A couple other things of note. It is technically, it's like barely faster to not reload the level. Like, it's if you optimally grab this key and then drive backwards, it saves like 0.1 or some shit, but it's really hard, like, to save the time with it. In general, it's not hard, but it's a good option if you're on pace to fail Mindy Skip and you need to, like, get rid of a load, for example. Just, you know. But, yeah, also, like, depending on the category, sometimes, you may need to do backtracking from Weenie, so regardless, you would want to grab this key. But that's for, like, categories that do, BBBH backwards, which, you know, well, there's 3, but one of them doesn't do Weenie, and then even for the other 2, one of them has an asterisk next to it, so, because you don't, you know, depends on the route that you do. But yeah, in general, this is how Weenie is gonna look at the high level. And, you know, pretty long sight. Like, yeah, I upgrade here, but still, like, even the gold is, like, barely sub 310. Like, that's pretty long, right? So it would be ideal to make this faster. When you just factor, like, the first, like, task of every driving level, this is a lot longer than sandwich driving. And it, not counting Mindy Skip, it's a lot longer than Knucklehead. I actually can't remember Knucklehead's split time. Hold on, where is it? Yeah. Well, even then, even with Mindy Skip, it's not even, like, that much slower. It's kind of funny. And then, obviously, Sunday's a lot longer than Weenie, but it doesn't, like, it's not the end of the world because you do some strats, like, Weenie is, like, it's definitely, like, the worst sliding and driving segment in the run. Again, other than maybe Knucklehead, but that kind of, like, depends on how you look at it. So it's either the worst or the second worst, and the problem is, as well, is that because it's in, like, early-ish game, I mean, there's no, like, definitive, like, early, mid, and late game, but the way that I see it is just, like, divided into thirds, because that just makes sense. So for me, Weenie is mostly in, actually, nah, no, Weenie's, like, the beginning of mid-game for me, I guess. But, yeah, basically, like, this is kind of the calm before the storm, especially with those 3k token death strats now. I mean, obviously, no cheese is no cheese, depression is depression, sandwich driving, 3k has gotten a pretty big difficulty spike, rub-a-dub skip is rub-a-dub skip, BBBH is a number of things that can go wrong, and then you have rub-a-dub 2, which is very hard, SD 1-2, which, again, if you're doing the strats, pretty hard. And then you just have fucking bozo-ass Weenie over here, followed by fairly bozo-ass Frogfish. And then Rock Slide, which is like, you know, it's not that hard, but to be fair, it's also not like that easy either. And then you get Now the Men in SCDA, bam, the double whammy, bro. But it would just be nice, like, I don't know, like, if you count Rock Slide as like an easy segment, then you just have like 3 bozo segments in a row. Hell, if you don't do anything for sandwich driving, then there's 4 bozo segments in a row. And it would just be nice to just have like another like cool, fast, difficult split, you know, just like another one. Not something so absurd that it makes the game fucking horrible to play. That's another video I was thinking of making, like a video like called something along the lines of like not all time save is good time save, mainly featuring the 3k token deaths, but yeah. Just something where it's like, you know, because what this level could really benefit from is like some big strat that saves like 20 plus seconds, and it's hard, but like if you grind it, you know, for like a week or 2, you get it like 80% of the time. That's more than good enough. You're happy. It looks cool. Everybody's happy, you know? You know, like, it saves a lot of time for you to do it, and it doesn't take too long to grind while still being like a dedicated grind. But then also it doesn't save so much that bad players feel the need. I don't mean to be mean when I say bad players, but inexperienced players, like, feel the need to do it because it just saves so much, you know, like rub-a-dub skip, you know, it wouldn't be a situation like that, preferably. You know, that's like the perfect time save. Where it's like, it's hard, but it's like very rewarding, and it's very cool and stuff like that. And like, inexperienced players aren't obligated to do it. So that would be ideal. What did we end up getting? Well, first of all, so again, like, Weenie out of bounds, what it came down to was just like, oh, we need that 5th key, like, early, because, like, we don't care about the rest of the checkpoint triggers throughout the level. It's literally just that we need to go through the level twice to spawn a ramp to do Weenie out of bounds. I mean, no, not Weenie out of bounds, to get the final Weenie key. So if we could get it by going out of bounds, or extending its hitbox, or fucking something, that's literally all we need. There are 5 keys that we get, and only one of them is an issue. So, I think Jaxel was fucking around. Dude, why is Jaxel's bed so huge? Is that his bed? That has to be a bed, right? What else could that be? Why is it almost as... I mean, I know he's sitting down, but why is it so big? Why is it like... Dude, I swear it's like at least half the height of the door. I think it might be more than... That is insane. Anyway, I only just noticed that. Why is it so fucking big? Okay, you have to climb a mountain to go to sleep, bro. It's insane. Like, you know how, like, in Japan, they usually don't fuck with, like, bed frames? They just, like, have the bed. Like, this is, like, the exact opposite. Might as well climb to the fucking ceiling to get to the fucking bed. Okay, anyway, so there is a huge boat out of bounds. One thing you gotta learn about Battle and Movie, right? When they add, like, objects into the game, by default, objects were set to have collision on, which is why when you go out of bounds, so much stuff has collision on by default. Well, that's what, again, when you go out of bounds, especially noticeable in battle, because of Hans Disable and stuff, you go out of bounds, like, you run into, like, a tree, like, not guaranteed or anything, but there's a pretty good chance that, like, that there's a lot of stuff out of bounds that has collision. So, there's a huge boat out of bounds, and Jaxla decided to climb up it. Obviously, this is way... I mean, Jaxla's on 360 anyway, but this is... Well, that one... that kind of matters because of, like, how uncommon modded 360s are, but... This is way before the practice mod, so trying this out would be, like, annoying. But yeah, he's on this big-ass boat, and then you will witness something huge. And then you can see his reaction. Dude, that chair looks weird. A yellow chair in, like, a room with, like, white walls and, like, a black/gray bed. That's so weird. And the chair doesn't even look that tall. I mean, at the very least, the bed's way taller. Dude, I'm getting way too distracted by his fucking bed. Yeah, you can tell he's excited, bro. He found something huge. I mean, this is an insane discovery. The clip is 4 minutes, the highlight. But yeah, this is, oh my god, he's jumping as well. But yeah, this is the piece of the puzzle that we needed. This is huge. I just thought of another clip I should probably get up, hopefully I remember later and can find it. But yeah, this is just like the reaction. Nothing really like notable here, but yeah. So this is huge because again, this is a strat that looks like it could save time, but not like a ton of time. It looks like, oh well, it doesn't look that bad to grind, you know. It ticks all the boxes where, like, again, don't feel obligated to do it if you're not experienced with the game, but it saves enough for, it looks like it saves time, you know, blah, 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 blah. And now I need to show you the reality of the situation. So, this is an upload to TSSM archive. Also, I don't know when this was, it was like 2019, sometime in 2019, obviously found by Jaxler. And at some point we found I swear, like, Cole found it, but I couldn't find the video. Might have been someone else. It might have been Kyoku. Oh, yeah, actually, yeah. I feel like looking back, it might have been Kyoku. But anyway. So, this general route was found in, like, 2021, and then, I believe, got optimized in 2023, but... Oh, yeah, I should say as well, the community did come together a little bit to try and make Weenie Out of Bounds save time back in 2019, but the way that they were doing it, it lost, like, 13 seconds. If I recall correctly. I couldn't find if there was a video of it, I couldn't find anything like that, but yeah. So, here is Weenie Out of Bounds. So obviously you got standard versus new. So the standard is just literally just gonna be my gold. It's gonna look pretty much identical to what you saw me show earlier, but a teeny bit faster. So we gotta look at the new gameplay. So you see that we go the right side immediately, and that is for a reason, but more on that later. And here's the trick. But we're not done yet, we gotta keep going out of bounds. So we're still going, Skybox gets kind of fucked here, you just gotta roll with it. Still going. You might see part of the problem here already, but yeah, still going. And then we do this, and this is known as boat bounce, it has its own, like, name now. And it'll look kind of the same, but it's a bit more optimal than how Jaxler did it. Not perfect, but pretty good attempt. Way above average, more on that later. And then we just gotta finish it out. There is still, like, 2 uncollected keys, unfortunately, so you just gotta grab them. I said that this nitro was slow, but if you have 0 nitros, grabbing it is fast, so... yeah. But you want to purposely damage yourself here and here, grab the final key, and then you run into this TNT to kill yourself because it's faster than actually just reloading the level. And the total time save is 6 seconds. 6 seconds. What the fuck is this? I secretly lived at YouTubers' houses. I don't think you did. I don't think you actually did that, but anyway. Yeah, so 6 seconds. Well, how bad could it be for 6 seconds, right? Well, here's the thing. It's really bad. It's really, really, really bad. For so many reasons. Obviously, first of all, you can't do this in any other Weenie task. It's only the first one, because, like, it only involves the keys. So it's not like, oh, well, if you do it a bunch of times, it adds up to time save. Now it's just the 6 seconds. I will say, you can do it a little faster than how I did it in this. Here is an example of that. Watch how fast this is now. I only ever got this once, but watch. Like, that was insanely fast, but here's the thing, right? You can see that I kind of, like, glitched out. Like, you're not gonna get that in, like, a run. I also, have a clip of a more optimal boat bounce, but I meant to clip it, I forgot, but it was, like, really optimal. So, I will say I've golded Weenie, like, once or twice since then, but even then... So, if we're talking, like, the actual, like, theoretical maximum, this could maybe save, like, 8, but here's the fucking thing, dude. You're not even saving the 6, let alone the goddamn 8. And again, it's just gonna spiral into, like, how this is just so bad. Like, so unbelievably bad. So, first of all, right? You have to dedicate to it very early. You can't just, in a split-second moment, be like, I'm gonna go for it. Nope, you need to dedicate yourself to it way ahead of time. And the reason why is because you literally need 3 nitros for it to save time. You need 3. So you get 1 at the beginning, well, towards the beginning, a second one, like, after the turn with the oil. Where's the third one coming from? Well, it has to come from this right tunnel. We have to purposely lose time, 2.5 seconds isolated, to get a nitro. Like, that's sad. That's kind of sad, bro. Like, we need to do all that just for this 1 nitro. And then look at this fucking disgusting angle you have. It would be way easier if we could do it from here. No, we have to do it from here. It's so bad, right? And then, like, even if we didn't need that 3rd nitro, you still need that key for fucking Conquer 2 key anyway. Well, I guess we could just grab that, like, after doing the out of bounds, but yeah. Now this is the really bad part, right? But you know what? Fuck it, bro. Let's skip it for now. Let's fucking skip it for now. Driving out of bounds itself isn't that bad. Like, yeah, here, it's hard to see what you're doing, but generally, like, it's pretty easy to follow a path back. There's some fucky collision here, but... Again, it's generally... I almost touched it, actually, but again, it's generally fine. So yeah, you want a nitro, like, immediately, and then you want a nitro, like... It could be anywhere between, like, passing this, like, kind of gray line here to, like, there's, like, this other, like, dark, like, circle here. I like to nitro, like, just as I, like, am making contact with it. With the back of my wheels, or the front, just, like, whatever. And then it kind of, like, I'm not, like, holding a hard left, but I'm kind of, like, going, I'm like, left-angled, so that, because you want the patty to, like, touch the back of the wall in a way where it's pushing you in, like, an up-left direction. So that you grab the key, and then you just land here, like, optimally. It's bad. Now, even just this on its own is bad, right? It's, like, this is weirdly easy to fuck up. We haven't, like, if there's a way to do it properly consistently, we haven't figured it out. Let's just put it like that, bro. Like, again, it's really hard to know, like, how much you should be going left. You want to be holding A the entire time. And then here, it's really easy to just, like, not get, like... You'd be shocked at how easy it is, right? To get no bounce, or to be misangled and be out of bounds when you go for the bounce. Or even when you get the bounce, the angle is just fucked, and you bounce here, and then you just miss the key entirely. Or you get thrown so far upwards that you need to drive backwards and lose a bunch of time. Like, words really can't do it justice. Like, it's really bad. But even then, I did a log of it before, and I was literally just getting the trick and saving any amount of time with it at all. Which was under the assumption that you do the first part perfectly, by the way, because I was just trying the second part, which is the boat bounce. So going in, it's like, okay, let's just assume that I did it perfectly, and I'm like -6, -7 right now. If I save like, if I don't lose like 6 or 7 seconds grabbing this key, then I count it as a success, right? So how often do you think I was getting it, right? About, like, 40 fucking % of the time, if I recall correctly, like, high 30s, low 40s. That's not great, man. Like, maybe, like, I don't feel the consistency with this trick. With some tricks, it's obviously, like, oh yeah, it's just really precise. With this, I don't feel the consistency. I genuinely don't know if this can be made fully consistent. Because it feels like you do the same thing every single time, and it just doesn't work. And I don't know if that's actually the case, or what. Here's the thing, right? Do you remember when I said earlier, like, I don't like nitroing on that one ramp because sometimes you get a weird bounce off of it for no reason? Yeah, I'm wondering if it's like some fucking delta time or something, because whenever that happened, I never knew why. And there's a similar thing to it in Weenie Ring, where if you like nitro and then go on like a ramp, you can get this bounce that's like so high that you're like near guaranteed to fail the fucking ring challenge because you go like over the ring on I think it's lap 2. I don't know what's up with that one either. Like, I just don't know. But to be fair, it hasn't happened in a while. I don't know if it's just some like mega precise thing. I don't know, like, this hasn't been grinded enough to know if it can be made fully consistent. And you could say, well, why haven't you tried? Why haven't you tried? Well, that's a whole other thing, but the final thing I want to complain about with boat bounce in particular, it is really hard to do this optimally. Like, again, even if you're like -6 going into this, you are so likely to be like -3 instead, even if you get the trick. Doing this optimally is so bad. Like, getting a horrible angle to where you need to do this, like, really awkward turnaround, or you get thrown, like, really far upwards. I cannot emphasize enough just how often that happens, dude. It happens way more often than it doesn't. So even when you get this trick, there is an incredibly high chance that you're not saving 6, you're saving 3. Or around there. Well, you know, at the end of the day, like, if we could make this 100% just saving any time with it at all 100% consistent, and then, you know, like 80% of those times you're getting it, like, you're getting the, like, 3 seconds of time save from it, and then, like, you know, like 20% of the time you're saving the full 6, so what's the problem, right? Still, you know, might as well try and grind it out. You poor soul, you don't know. You just don't know. This is the problem. Not even boat bounce. If it was literally just boat bounce, I would have grinded the fuck out of it, bro. For like 6 seconds of time save, yeah, I would have grinded it out. At the very least, it'd be absolutely worth it on, like, mid-ass runs. But this is the problem. It's this. Again, like, I hate the dedication to it, but even then, like, look at this. Genuinely fucking look at this. Keep in mind that this thing does not turn very easily in the first place. But, like, you need to adjust your angle with, like, very little leniency, by the way. You need to fucking, like, keep in mind the patty's fat as fuck. So you need to be, like, not too far left, not too far right. If you're too far left, you'll just be bounced to the left. If you're too far right, you'll get clipped. So you need to be, like, at the right angle, but then you also need to have the right angle to bounce off of the fucking pole to land out of bounds, and, right, you need to grab the key as well. The key has an enormous hitbox, but trust me, bro, it is, like, if you go too far right in a way that still allows you to get out of bounds, too fucking bad, too fucking sad. You could very easily miss the key. I'm only barely grabbing it here. If I was a little more right, I wouldn't have grabbed it. So you need to do all of that, again, like, you need to nitro, adjust yourself, like, mid-nitro with, like, very little leniency. And then you need to, like, get on this very thin fucking rope with the right angle in a way that allows you to grab the key while also, like, being angled to bounce off of the fucking pole. Which, by the way, it is, again, very easy to not only not get the bounce here, but to get thrown so far to the left that you land back in bounds. Which, like, yeah, that's not, like, the end of the world if that happens. You wouldn't lose that. But that's the thing, though. Because you didn't do Conquer 2 Key, it's not even, like, oh, it's not that big of a deal if you just, like, get clipped back in. You hardly lost anything. You just lose, like, a second or something, that's fine. No, because you didn't do Conquer 2 Keys, you're losing an additional 2.5 seconds on top of that. That's part of the reason why I hate it so much. Because even if God himself shows you some mercy, and he's like, alright, bro, like, I'm not gonna let you get the trick, but I'll let you just continue on with the run. Nope, you already lost, like, 2.5 seconds, so you just feel like shit, on top of the, like, additional, like, second or two that you lost from attempting this and missing it. And then the run just fucking sucks. Like, yeah, it's probably not dead, but, like, the run sucks. And then it'll probably just die to now the men because you don't have the cushion. But, like, dude, the really, really bad part of this trick It's not even all this. It's the out of bounds. It's specifically getting, like, where you land out of bounds, dude. I wish I had more clips of just showing me, like, failing it. Like, in this way that I'm talking about. But you have no idea how often you will bonk into the fucking... well, sometimes even the tire here, but you have no idea how often you can bonk into this rock. Or get thrown... this is less common, but getting thrown, like, really far left. And then having to readjust. Like, there is so much that can go wrong here that cuts into your 6 to 7 seconds of time save. Or even 8, theoretically, but again, like, you're not getting this shit. This is evil. This is an evil fucking trick. It is evil. Again, you don't even begin to understand how often it happens. It is literally, like, at least, like, 80% of the time. On top of boat bounces, also, like, 80% of the time thing as well. So, getting a trick that you nearly never get, and then hoping for the, like, 20 to 25% chance that you don't get fucking absolutely fucked here, and collide with a rock or a tire, or you get thrown back in bounds, or you get thrown really far to the left. All that fucking absolute nonsense, just to have to do effectively the same goddamn thing again later on. Like, it's awful. Even if boat bounce wasn't part of the equation and it was just this is so bad. Like, again, I did a log of this. I even did more for this. I did, like, a few logs. I did, like, so probably, like, 300 total attempts. And yeah, that's not, like, a billion, but that's still, like, still a decent number of attempts, right? On top of just, like, the random times I've just done it without a log, or I've just done it, like, during a stream for funsies. Like, you have no idea, like... Here's the thing, right? I wasn't even getting it, like, 20% of the time. Again, just saving any... like, not factoring boat bounce, just literally just getting out of bounds while grabbing the key and not losing 6 seconds from how slow the out of bounds is. I was getting it. If I recall correctly, of my 3 logs of 100... I don't have them on me, but I think my best one was 18 out of 100. That was my best one. And and one of the other ones was like 8, by the way, and then the other one, I don't even know, I think it was like 13 or some shit. So what's that averaging out to? Probably, yeah, like 13. So I'm getting the trick 1 in every 8, 9 times, saving anything from it. And keep in mind, right, because you were so overwhelmingly likely to be on pace to save more like 2 to 3 seconds from this, and then from the average boat bounce you lose like 3 seconds from how slowly you'll probably do it, even if you get the trick. You know how much that... okay, so let's say you lose 3 seconds from this and 3 seconds from boat bounce, which is incredibly likely, by the way. How much are you saving? If I do the math, it sounds like I'm saving 0 fucking seconds. Yeah, it is entirely possible that you get both of these and still save nothing. And even if you save like a second, what's the chances that you PB by a fucking second? Not very likely, right? It doesn't even... like, hell, 2 seconds isn't that big of a deal, when statistically the run's gonna fucking die to Now Man anyway. You know what's... you know, 2 seconds, right? Spewer boost saves 4 to 5. Quick Chris saves like 5. Fucking, like, nearly every 2 frame in the game saves more than 2 seconds. But, like, so even, like, a semi-average-ish successful attempt at these tricks combined, they're still only saving, like, 2 seconds. Like even if you want to be a tiny bit optimistic, it's saving, like, 2 seconds. Okay. Fucking 2 seconds. Okay, like, what are you doing with that 2 seconds, right? Like, yes, I would like 2 seconds, but you know what saves more than that? Spewer boost, and Spewer boost is fucking trash. Like, bro. I just, like, I don't know if my words are getting across just how genuinely abysmal this is, but, like, again, even if you get this, both of these, you're very likely to save anywhere between 0 to 2 seconds. And let's say, okay, you save the full fucking, like, 7 seconds or whatever, right? Hallelujah, the world has been saved, right? That is a lot of time, and that could very easily, at the top level, make the difference between PB versus no PB. But that's the thing. It's just, like, nearly never happening. And even when it does, it's not like you're always, like, in a position to even attempt this trick, let alone save 7 seconds from it. And that leads to the other reason why the strat is so fucking bad, right? I think now that I can go on a yapathon, I think I'll just, I'll probably just, yeah, okay. So, here's the thing, right? Not every category does Weenie. You know, like, all platforming levels doesn't do Weenie, all world tokens doesn't do Weenie, early task unlocks doesn't do Weenie, and cheap percent doesn't either, and obviously all the ILs, like, yeah. Okay, well that's still a lot of categories that do Weenie, that's still like, oh, and any percent doesn't do it either. But that's still, you know, no pause storage, NMG, hundo, all tokens, all extras, and then a few extensions categories, like, that's a lot of categories. So, I'm not, like, so you might be thinking, oh, well, it's not an issue of, like, oh, it's only viable in, like, one category or whatever, but here's the thing, it kind of, like, here's the thing, right? To be fair, it's not an issue of manlies, you get, like, if anything, I think you get more manlies. Do you get more? No, I think you get, like, around the same amount, so that is not really an issue of manlies. But the issue, do you remember what I said earlier about how sometimes, depending on the category, you might want to do backtracking after grabbing the final Weenie key? Kind of hard to do that when the fastest way of doing Weenie out of bounds requires not reloading. So what categories does that affect? Well, it's just, NMG, and even then, it only affects it if you're doing BBBH backwards, and if you're so good at the game that you're doing Weenie out of bounds, like, you're not doing BBBH backwards, because at that point you're way too good, like, you don't have the manlies to do BBBH backwards, so that's, again, that's why there's an asterisk on it. But all tokens, like, there's just nothing else you could do there. I mean, you enter, to be fair, I think you enter Now That We're Men with, like, 22 tokens. Do you enter with 22 tokens? Well, In NMG, you enter with 22... I don't know. I'm trying to think of if you could do it later in sandwich driving. Well, you wouldn't want to do sandwich driving later, even if you can. You certainly wouldn't want to do rub-a-dub skip later. But sandwich driving, like sandwich out of bounds, you do it 3 times in the run, bro. You wouldn't want to do that later. But maybe theoretically you could. I can't think right now. Actually, like, can't think right now. Let me look at my old tokens run and see how many tokens I enter Now That We're Men with. Actually, if you enter with 22, then you won't have... Yeah, no, you enter with 22. No, you can't even do that. You would... If you skipped... Oh, no, you would... Yeah, okay, so here's the thing, right? You can skip... You can't... No, fucking... What am I trying to say? You need... Weenie, a Weenie load to do rub-a-dub early. Sandwich driving's not the issue, because you can do that during 3K. Yeah, you can do that during 3K. The issue is rub-a-dub. And there are 3 tokens to collect. You enter Now That We're Men with 22, so obviously subtract 3, that's 19, there's no other tokens to get. You can't do that. Well, how much does it save if you don't reload? It saves like 3 seconds. And again, considering you are already very unlikely to save time with it anyway, or even if you do, it's like a second or 2, yeah, you can't fucking afford to do that, so you effectively can't do it in all tokens, pretty much. And even if you could, you wouldn't want to do rub-a-dub that late if you can help it. And even then, if it's only saving like 4 seconds, like, you'd much rather get that from shit like Spewer Boost and Quick Chris. So all tokens is kind of out. But here's the thing. All extras is fucking out as well. Like, those, there are 2 extras, and you don't collect either of them with Weenie out of bounds. You can collect one of them for very little time loss. in itself, this only loses, like, not even, like, a second. And then, this one here, this is a 0-second extra normally. But with Weenie out of bounds, you avoid both of them. And in all extras, you only go to Weenie once. So, straight up, it is not viable whatsoever. In all extras, you literally cannot do it. So, all extras is out of the running as well. Well, what about Hundo and Early Powers All Extras? Well, Early Powers All Extras has the same problem, so that's out. Alright, well, what about Hundo? Hundo can do it. It can do it. It saves less time. Why does it save less time? Well, because you're not getting the extras early, you can't, like, you can't enable mag after Rubber Dub. And if you can't enable mag after Rubber Dub, well, and you need to, like, and we're doing Weenie in late game, well, basically, you wouldn't be able to do Weenie with mag. You could set yourself up in a position where you can enable mag in Weenie on lap 1 of the time challenge. However, that would lose, like, a second, almost a second, because you would need to open the menu just to enable mag. When we enable it at the end of Knucklehead, we have to open the menu anyway to get the Gask. So, having to open it in Weenie just to enable mag, I don't know how much mag saves in Weenie, it's probably like 2-3 seconds, it's probably like 2 seconds, so, and you would open the menu just for it, so, and keep in mind as well, you wouldn't even be able to immediately benefit, even, that'd be an incredibly minor thing, but yeah, you wouldn't be able to, like, immediately benefit from it. Oh yeah, you wouldn't be able to get one of the nitros for... Well, actually, yeah, but then you would just do lap 1 to... yeah, okay, yeah. So... I think I'm right? Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. So... You can do it in Hundo, but it wouldn't save, like, 6 to 7, it would save 5 to 6. And again, you need, like, so I'm not gonna say it's like, oh, you can't do it in Hundo, but it's less attractive in Hundo. Like, and that's not even factoring that Hundo is the longest category in the fucking game. With, like, the most opportunity for time save at that point, because, like, there were just so many segments, so much gold potential, so many strats with extras that you can add. Like, there's so much stuff that you could otherwise be doing, like... And even with the strat, it's not like it's gonna make 220 in Hundo, like, suddenly, like, super viable. So there's literally, like, no incentive to go for it right now. So, you're less likely to do it in Hundo, not just because of how fucking long the category is, and just from, like, just how much leniency you have in the category regardless. But also because, like, it saves fucking less, and it's, like, it's not gonna get you to the next minute barrier for free anyway. So it's literally, like, there's just no point to it, really. Like, you can do it, but there's no point. And then, so that leaves us with, like, a few things left, right? So we have, like, we have a few categories. You know, we got, like, no pole storage, NMG with an asterisk, like, early powers, and Frogfish. I think that's everything. All tokens, yeah. Yeah, all tokens as well. But that's, like, everything. I don't know if they do Weenie out of bounds in, no level resets. I don't know if they do. I'm just not gonna... Yeah, I don't... They probably don't. But yeah. So that's, like, a few categories, so that's still not the end of the world. But again, it only affects the first task, so, like, imagine having to grind this for, like, a century, just for it to be barely consistent enough to be, like, worth, like, attempting. And then you just, like, what am I trying to say? Like, just, like, if it's going to save that little, you'd, like, even if you could get it consistent, like, it's hard to incentivize grinding it when it only saves that amount of time and is currently this difficult, especially when it's only, in quotes, to be fair, only affecting this many categories. Obviously, the most attractive category to do it in is no pole storage. Well, all tokens kind of has the same... Oh no, you can't even do it in all tokens. I misremembered because I literally said a couple minutes. Yeah, so it's literally just no pause storage, NMG with an asterisk, and then, like, Frogfish and early powers. So, well, technically early powers... Well, Frogfish would be the best one to do it in, then early powers, then no pause storage, and then NMG. But again, it's really, really, really hard considering all of that. I would go as far as to say that it only has any real viability in Frogfish. You might be wondering, has anybody ever even gotten this in a run? And I have. I don't think I ever highlighted it, though, because I didn't PB with it. And what do you know? I saved like 2 seconds with it, so, you know. I do legitimately think it's worth doing in Frogfish if you, like, know what to do for the trick. And you're going for, like, world record or whatever, and it's like, okay, well, the run's, like, basically dead out of BBB. Because, you know, it's such a, like, a short run. Like, you're supposed to play really fast anyway, like... And it is the only way you're gonna get to the next 10-second barrier, because the world record, yeah, 13:44. I could see, like, at my best, like, at my very, very best, getting, like, a 13:42 or something. Like, you ain't getting a fucking 13:39. I don't even think my summer best hits that, or if it does, it's, like, barely. So, you would need Weenie out of bed, or even just, like, just to improve your odds at a recce, like, just having that in the mix. Because the category is so all or nothing anyway, it's like, yeah, why not? But, it's just, like, fast forward again. Just, yeah. So, Frogfish, I do believe it has some amount of viability, but even then, I would call it pretty much like a world record strat. And it currently isn't even needed for world records, it's just an extra option to get world record. Then, like... early powers just from its length, although that'd be really aids. Like, it's kind of hard to get a run going in that category, but it would, you know, a category that short would definitely benefit from that amount of time save. So, and then no pause storage because it's the most ran, like, category. It's one of the most optimized. And it's not such an insanely long category that it's like, you know. And then, yeah, and then you just have NMG, which again, asterisk. Because if BBBH backwards is ever back in, then yeah, that's just ripperoni right there. There's also other things as well, actually, like... if you... Well, I mean, this doesn't really matter, but, like... The most like, if you're doing BBBH slide jumps, then the most optimal thing you can do is do backtracking after... that, but if you're not doing slide jumps, then that'd put you in a position where you need to do the backtracking in Weenie anyway, which could theoretically cause problems if the trick ever became actually consistent for anybody to do. But I mean, I say issues. That amount of time, you know, it doesn't really matter. At this point, I'm just kind of yapping, but yeah, like, again, I'm getting the actual out of bounds, like the first out of bounds, like probably like low to mid-teens % of the time, and then the second one I'm getting like 40% of the time. Just makes it so unlikely to save anything. And even if we grinded the fuck out of it, I really, really don't see how it could be made like actually properly consistent. I really, 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 really don't. It is only, I feel like it's only worth just occasionally practicing, like just kind of keeping in mind, just for Frogfish, and that's it. And again, it's like, you can't even do it for ILs, so there's no incentive there. You can't do it for the other tasks, no incentive there. You could be thinking, like, oh, what about bowl storage? Could we, like, extend, like, a key hitbox or fucking something? Well, you wouldn't have bowl storage at that point, so even then, it would only theoretically affect ETU, and why the fuck would you do all of that bowl storage testing just for a category that nobody cares about or plays? Like, bruh. And even then, it's possible that, like, the chain would be, like, so long they wouldn't even save time anyway. And in current ETU routes, you don't even upgrade bowl anyway, so it's, like, it's even less incentivized to go for it. And then you could be thinking, well, is there any other way of doing Weenie out of bounds? The answer is just pretty much, like, almost definitely no. I don't want to say, like, oh yeah, it'll never happen, but, like... There's, like... We've looked in Industrial Park, dude. We've seen, like, those, We've seen... I had a burp. My name's Jeff. we've seen the invisible walls. It's not looking good, it really isn't. Like, obviously there are some that you can go over, but you can't really do anything with them. And then there's Hans triggers as well. Keep in mind, we need to do all that backtracking in Weenie just for that one singular key. That's how desperate we are. And there's, like, nowhere else we could do it. It's like, oh, well, could you do it on lap 2? Would that be worth anything? No, because that would just be extra driving. That's why I lost 13 seconds in the first place with the original timing, is because they would do it on lap 2. It's just, no. So, it can only be done on, like, lap 1. Like, all the invisible walls are huge. There's just nothing, dude. Like, there really is just nothing. Even if there was some sort of, like, disc eject thing. Xbox can't even do disc eject. Like, it would just be, like, PS2. It was like, bro, who cares? Maybe GameCube as well, but again, who cares? Well, I don't even know if on GameCube, I don't even know if you can get the high for boat bounce, I don't even know. But yeah, like... But that's why I think it's a best-worst trick, is because, unlike other, like straight-up, like, RTA and viable strats, like, it has a tiny amount of RTA viability, in the sense that, like... Okay, well, I don't know, if your run somehow died to, like, 3k floating block or fucking rubber dub or skip, the second rubber dub skip or something, and you're literally just like, alright, I'm just gonna go to Weenie for memes. Because, like, Weenie's, like, right after, so it's like, alright, I'm gonna do Weenie out of bounds for the memes. Like, maybe, but then there's also, like, the fact that, like, it is, like, semi-kind of viable in Frogfish. Like, and the fact that, like, it doesn't save so much that we're highly incentivized to keep looking, so we can just kind of just let it rest if we want. So, yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to, but, like, if we could, like, just spawn the ramp early by fucking with, checkpoint triggers, then we could do it, but we've never been able to prove that we can do something like that. If we could extend, the Weenie Key's hitbox without ball storage, then that would be huge, but again, how would we do that? Some, like, you know, like, SDJ in battle with like, SpongeBall, like that, but for Weenie? It shouldn't even be theoretically possible because you can't jump in the paddy wagon, but, like, yeah, like, that's so, like, yeah, it's not happening. Like, no matter how you look at it, there's just, like, no real way that I could see it ever happening. It's gonna have to be fucking with checkpoint triggers. I feel like that's the only way. I don't think we're gonna be able to make this consistent. Even if we could just get out of bounds and then get back in bounds, like, fully consistently, even the varying time save would be annoying unless that was also consistent, in which case, like, yeah, it'd be a great trick. But that's why it's the best worst trick. It's even worse than stuff like Spewer Boost, because, like, that... There are, like, many categories that can do it. It doesn't save so much that you feel obligated to do it. If you miss it, it's usually not in ways that cause, like, insane time loss. Like, it actually has some consistency to it, etc. But, again, this is bordering. This is, like, this is clearly, like, way worse than, like, Spewer Boost, but it's clearly way better than, like, SCDA Fast Corkscrew. There is, like, one theoretical path to victory as well with this, but it could be even worse than what we're already doing if it's even possible. I'll be right back, I'll try and find it. Alright, so I couldn't find, like, 100% exactly what I was looking for, but, well, I found something that was good enough, and I found something else I completely forgot about. This is like another idea for Weenie out of bounds, but it could like maybe theoretically be faster than the one we're currently doing, but first of all, just fucking look at it. I don't want to spend too long on this, like I want to make food soon, you know, this video's been going on for way longer than I meant for it to, but yeah, like this clearly isn't happening, and then you just do a whole bunch of fucking shenanigans, and then you do some even more like this might not even be faster anyway, but even if it were, you would need to use a bunch of nitro, so you literally just wouldn't have enough left anyway for boat bounce. Like, you just, yeah, like, I forgot to mention it earlier, but, like, you need, like, 2 nitros for boat bounce because you go up the boat, like, so unbelievably slowly without a nitro. Like, it's genuinely unbelievable. Imagine, like, the slowest, like, off-road of all time. Like, that's how fucking slow it is, bro. Like, you need a nitro. But yeah. And then here's the actual thing. Zepp, who found Rub-a-Dub Skip, we asked them if, to, you know, a couple years ago to look into a potential strat for Weenie out of bounds, and yeah, nothing came of it really, but I swear there was like there was a different video that I wanted to, but like whatever, this will have to do. So the idea, I guess, was that you go up here, and then like you get like the idea, I guess you're supposed to get like a big bounce off of here and land there. There's also like bouncing off of this part of the truck as well. That was like a thing. But here's the thing, right? It's clearly, like, really far away. Now, as you probably know, the slower the paddy wagon is, depending on the version, the more height you get. So you might be like, oh, PAL 360, PAL 360. First of all, if PAL 360 was, like, the only console that could do this, that would genuinely make the game way worse. But second, even then, like, yeah, maybe you'd get the height, but how would you get the distance if you're not getting the speed? Because you also go slower, you have to remember that. Like, it's just not happening. Like, but yeah, there's the idea, like, yeah, on PAL 360, you'd get enough height, but you wouldn't get the distance. I think this is on PAL GameCube, so, like, yeah, it's just not happening. And it's not like you can just spam nitros to go faster or whatever, like, that was as fast, probably, as you could go. Keep in mind, this was tasked. How are you gonna get any further than this? And again, if it was, like, even if this was possible, like, it'd make just the game, like, way worse, like, because then it would save, like, 50 fucking seconds or something, so if we could even get it, like, 5% of the time, it'd low-key be worth it, and that would just obviously make the run worse. But yeah, that's basically everything, of just how this is only really, you're only gonna want to do this, in, like, 4 categories max, well, like, probably, like, arguably 5 max. And even then, it hardly saves anything, so we can mostly just ignore it. It would take so much grinding to even see if it could be made barely viable anyway. It's just not fucking worth anyone's time. Do I ever think this will be made, like, actually consistent? I just don't know. If it does happen, it's not anytime soon. That is the only certainty I have, that if it does happen, it won't be anytime soon. There's just no way, dude. Like, all the invisible walls are way too high. We would need brand new tech that doesn't fucking currently exist to be able to get that key even earlier. Like, and when the game is already, like, so explored, the more you find, the less there is to find, unless you find tech that enables other stuff. But generally, the more strats you find, the less strats there are to then find. You know, there's a finite number of things to discover in a game. You know, to be fair, some games will basically, you know, effectively die without certain, like, huge discoveries ever getting found. There's always that one game with that one, you know, think of, like, a carpetless in SM64. There could be another carpetless, probably not, but you know what I mean, though. Like, in a bunch of games, there could be carpetless-like tricks that never, ever get found for the rest of the time, even though they do exist. And that could be the case here for some big stuff, including, a faster Weenie out of bounds. But, like, even if we do find a big one, it better be fucking consistent, dude. It better be. I don't care, like, even if it takes, like, a month or two to grind it out to make it consistent, like, that's all we really need. Like, just make it fucking consistent. That's what actually matters. Like, what's the point of me grinding this out? Just be like, oh, I used to get it fucking 15% at a time, and now I get it 25% at a time, even though I'm still only saving, like, 2 seconds from it. Yay, it's so worth it. Like, no. No. Clearly it's not. And now that there's a minute left, I just kind of want to get this to an hour, so I will say thank you for watching and goodbye, but I will also say, I ran out of ideas for videos, bro. I gotta fucking make some videos. I mean, again, I was thinking of making, like, not all time save is good time save, but I don't know, that'd be, like, a hard one to structure. I need to think of more, like, ideas and stuff. This strat, like, if it were actually, like, consistent, it'd make, like, the run so cool, and it'd make the level, like, really, really cool as well. Though it'd be preferable even then that it's not such like an all-or-nothing strat, because imagine like in like GDQ or something, even if it's consistent, you go for it, you miss it, and like the whole thing's fucked, and you lose like a minute, that would just look bad. Like even, like obviously this is nitpicking at this point, but it would be preferable even then, even if it were consistent, to have it so that if you do fuck it up, it doesn't lose like a billion years. That would be ideal. But yeah, hopefully I didn't forget anything, but once again, thank you for watching, and goodbye.